Hi, and welcome to the Dr. Fitness USA show. Why go to the gym anyway? Imagine a pain-free life. Today's topic, the rhythms of bodybuilding.
My name is Batista, and I am the co-founder of the International Institute of Body Design, the #1 best-selling author of Feminine Body Design Empowering Fitness for a Pain-Free Life, and the co-host of the Esoteric Principles of Bodybuilding.
In today's episode, we will address the topics of breathing, equipment, repetition, weight ratio and sequencing, program development, and much more. Let's start with breathing.
And I was doing the breathing that I learned in the last segment, about how to keep the breath so that when you're powerlifting, how you breathe. And I have to say it's somewhat in reverse of what I'm used to doing. So it's really a mental exercise to get used to when you're breathing out and expelling the energy, at what part of the lift are you supposed to be at to get the maximum benefit from your body. So that's my first question around the rhythm.
I think when you go into an exercise, you just should act yourself and just relax.
Well, that's a good answer. And it should come naturally.
The hardest part for people is to just relax. If you are relaxing, as the movement becomes more difficult, you have an automatic breathing system. You're going to start to breathe appropriately.
The first day in the gym, my breathing changed. It improved so dramatically. My insides just all of a sudden woke up. First day.
The breathing is important, but it's very important to be connected to the exercise. Instead of just executing an exercise aimlessly, you need to be able to go inside yourself and create a vacuum of energy.
Yeah, that does make sense. In the gym today, I was doing the hugging in a tree with the barbells, and I actually did it with my eyes closed so that I wasn't, because I can get caught up with all this loud music and everybody in the gym. And so I had my eyes closed. I didn't want to necessarily look in the mirror. And I just let my breathing, follow an ordinary pattern.
Even though I'm pro at what I do, very often when I'm doing exercise, my eyes are closed. It's a very sensuous experience.
Yeah, I found that, and it helped me concentrate on just that 8 repetitions, so I didn't get carried away, right? And then I stopped, and I put the barbells on my legs and rested.
Like when you're doing Pilates and you're working with certain exercise coaches on a more kind of basic or introductory level, let's just say, they're often telling you when to breathe. I remember for years doing this. Okay, breathe in here, breathe out there. When do we breathe? Pilates, they'd be telling me, okay, breathe in, breathe out. I hear it at all different times. I had a massage. Okay, let's take some deep breaths here. Okay. But when you're pressing whatever, you're probably pressing 300 pounds on your leg press. Anyway, when you're there and you're pressing heavy loads, you don't have to wonder when to breathe. It's going to happen for you. You are just simply going to breathe deeply at the right time. And your heart and everything is going to be reset. It's a good reset.
So, and this is the second question then, Stephen. Between the reps, give me a sense of, is it just that I want to calm my breathing, or is there actually, a duration of time that's appropriate between the reps, or how do I know what that rhythm is?
Okay, so this is what you see in the gym. Okay. You just have to relax. You put the weight down. You can think about it. And then you'll automatically pick up the weight. So whatever rhythm you create is fine. If the weight was much heavier, then you would probably rest longer. You might go for a drink of water. You might just sit there. But all these stops and goes are part of who you are. And if you don't concentrate, you can get caught up in what's happening beside you, because there's a lot of nutcases in the gym. Okay, when I go in the gym myself, I'm looking at older men, younger men. I'm wondering why do they train that way. Strength training, according to my method, is a beautiful, sensuous experience, and the prescription dictates how much weight you're going to use, where your strength is, all verifiable. Okay, so we don't want to rush through the exercise, because working out after later on in life for men is a feminine experience. Anytime a man takes care of himself, brushes his teeth, combs his hair, that's feminine. When you're younger, it's all ego, which is great too. So you can have the best of both worlds, but what's very important is when you have a persistent strength training program, it's a map, and you can take that journey to whatever destination you want, fast, slow, and different. Some days you can go fast, some days you can go slow, but it makes a variety of excitement, because you don't know how your body's going to react. Did you sleep well the night before? Did you have fun? Are there things in the back of your mind? The great thing about the prescription program, no matter how much stress you have in your life or how much thinking you do, when you do it according to the way you're taught, it blocks out all distractions. It keeps you very focused, as opposed to the women, and this is the guys too, where they're texting. They got things in their ear, they're texting, and they're not really present on what they're supposed to be doing. They're not doing the work. So we call that half-assed training.
Well, thank you for that, because today was the first day that I actually did pause, in doing the hugging the tree, with the barbells. I did pause. I did follow the rhythm, like you say. It felt right when I did the next set of reps, and then I rested. It felt right to do the next one. I had my eyes closed even in the rest period, and I got to say, I agree with you. It was essential. It felt really, really good. And it allowed me to tune in what muscles are actually being strengthened by the exercise, where if my eyes were open, I get caught up in the mirror and everybody around me and the craziness of the gym. So I agree with you. It can be very essential. And it probably in the beginning is probably a good idea to close your eyes and go inward and learn to feel it, what it feels like inside of yourself. So thank you for that. So that was the second question. So it's really the rhythm of the day, of how you feel, probably, how much stress you have, whether you had enough protein early in the morning or whether you're tired in the afternoon. So the rhythms in the gym will change depending on when you arrive and how you've been eating and sleeping the day before and how much stress you have in your life.
Exactly. So you always have to check your machines, and you have to be ready to be able to understand that machine's not quite right, that you might have to take a little less weight. It's still going to it's still part of the program, but you have to, what I'm trying to say is a person has to be sensible if their shoes are fitting properly for that particular day. A lot of times you go into a gym and the machine is broken.
Yeah, I was interested today because in the gym, when I arrived, they were oiling the machine and getting it ready. And what a difference it was being on that machine after it had been, taken care of.
Yeah, so you got an experience that when a machine is properly maintained, it's could be more sensuous, so to speak.
Yeah, it was. It was a real pleasure, and you could get fully extended without it banging. You could get your leg all the way out smooth without hitting the end of it, right? So somebody had adjusted it properly, and it was smooth all the way through. It was all the difference in the world. So maintaining equipment is really important. And as you're saying, as a member of a gym, there's nothing wrong with you going up to the gym manager and saying, hey, this machine needs to be adjusted, or could you check this out? That's part of our responsibility to make sure that we have the best maintained equipment in the gym.
I think that's a great idea. Because I know people, when they go to the gym, they work out on broken machines. They have no expertise on what's expected. Because their program is too weak, the music score is too weak, and they're not taking the weight they could to empower their body to actually produce what we call muscle mass or more development or create a more defined type of muscle.
What I've learned today is that I guess the perfection is in the details. So from a standpoint of knowing whether or not you want to shift your body back an inch or two on a machine to moving your shoulder this way or that way to get the muscle to be worked just the right way in a way that doesn't hurt. It really is, the mastery that Stephen has, and I think you'll be hard pressed to figure it out by yourself, unless you want to spend 40 years doing it.
The questions come up is why do like 5 reps? Okay, let's talk about the legs. The legs require they're big muscles, and they require much more weight to be executed in the movement. Okay, so when you say times 5 reps, it's kind of like in a musical instrument where you have B, the letter B. So that's your you're going to add the notes later, but you have to have a strong base. There's different types of leg exercises. The ones where you're sitting and you, like the one that you do that's a horizontal leg press, that's pushing out. That's pretty safe because the bones are not lying on top of each other, and if something happens, you just stop. That's good. And there's many different types. So that's a good beginning type of exercise. But in a lot of gyms, they have another leg press where it's pushing uphill, and that's what they call plate load. But there's many different models of plate load machines. So I suggest you check in with Dr. Fitness USA, and I'm going to tell you if it's a good machine or a bad machine. And it makes a lot of difference.
Strangely enough, Dr. Fitness USA over here seems to know every single machine like better than the back of his hand, and knows the geometry of that machine and how it would integrate with my structure and where all my muscles are attached and the whole geometry of the system, so that when I explained to him that this didn't feel good, he would tweak something, adjust this, adjust that, or try another machine, and we found something that would work. Because I have plenty of issues with my shoulders and my back. Probably one of the reasons why all the other trainers have failed, but he hasn't.
When you're doing 8 reps, it's just signaling your body the proper form. In other words, if it's connecting your brain to the muscle. If the weight is too light, then it's like going to a boarding job. If the weight is too heavy, then you can't get the movement going. But the object of working the legs is to strengthen your bones and your hips. Okay?
So we're talking about the rhythm of bodybuilding, and so let's talk about the sequence of the actual exercises. And I'm sure that you have the symphony of the rhythm built into the why you do one exercise before another.
Sure. Okay, so let's put it in simple terms. Okay, so we want to build the house. Well, your legs are the foundation, your hips, etc. So we're going to take a leg press. So we're going to create a weight scale that the first few reps is just going to tell you how the machine is working or where your body's at. Then you're going to, and then after that, then you're going to make sure that the adjustments are all like you've been taught how to adjust the machine, the right angle, where your feet go, the range of motion. And then, so we have the first few reps. Okay, 8, that's pretty good. Okay. And then we're going to add another set of exercises, and that becomes a medium weight. Okay, now the body is ready to go to work. Once it's ready to go to work, it's already warmed up. You don't have to stretch. You don't have to do anything. So when you create 4 reps, younger people, you can do 5. And I'm going to explain that the action of the movement, you will not feel it. Like the lower reps and the medium weight, you actually can feel what you're doing. But when it's heavier, it's kind of push a car up a hill, you just execute it. Okay? You don't feel anything. That's why you have lower reps that pump blood into the muscle. So all you're doing is increasing your strength in your body.
Something really strange occurred over the last couple of days. We started off in some cases with some lower weights where I felt unstable and I didn't feel like I could actually do those weights. And then we put on substantially more weight on some of the machines, and I was actually doing the exercise better. It felt different I've learned that that has to do with different muscle tissue types.
Yes.
And the fact that my body naturally adjusts and stabilizes in different ways. So that was kind of surprising that I was more tired and less stable on lower weights, and more stable and had more power on the higher weights.
But the rhythm that follows through that is we can add another strength training movement, but more often than not, we're doing auxiliary exercise. They're a little easier on the body, but you can have fun in the exercise. But the difference is you're going to take a weight that's actually significant. Once your body's warmed up and it processes the movement, the increase in weight is almost double. When a person comes in, let's say, and they do a leg extension, usually they don't do it properly anyways, but what happens is that's an auxiliary exercise. That gives you actually nothing. They're out of the weight range. Like I said, I instructed a woman who wanted to work in with me on a horizontal leg press, and she was doing like 30 reps at 35 pounds. Once I instructed her, she was able to power out 135 pounds, where she immediately puffed up her chest and ran down the aisle of the gym saying, "Wow, I'm great." See, so weight is a significant factor in what you're going to lift for your upper body. It is when you're doing a back exercise, why is it 7 reps? Why is it 7? Why is it 4? Well, that's another large body part, and it holds your structure. So you see, let's say you're doing a lat pull down. Well, the arms are the levers. If you're doing 8 reps in the beginning, or even advanced, it's out of the weight range. The body can, through experience, the body can cope with 7. If I tell you to do 7, you'll do it easily. If I tell you to do 8, you're going to be exhausted, if that's your beginning exercise.
Right.
So you need heavier weight to stimulate the back muscles. So there's always a different rep scheme or sequence of what goes on.
So it's really the sequence has to do not only the reps and getting your muscles warmed up, getting blood flowing into the muscles, but actually the grounding exercises get you stabilized in order to then do the stronger one. So you're seeing important of why you have one series of exercises after another. They build upon each other. Sort of like a symphony.
Absolutely. So you're getting the idea. Okay.
So let's talk about the programs. You have a dance that you put people through as well.
Okay, I can help you. As you have to, it's either separating your program into 2 days or 3 days. But if you're working your legs, there's a series of movements, just like in any dance, that allows you to mature your capacity for development at its maximum. So, this is one example. So now if you had a second portion of the program, now you're going to work your chest. But there is also a series of movements for your chest. Because they have quite a selection of different options as far as exercise is concerned. You can have a third day, and it could be your back. So it means when you're younger, you can go in and concentrate exclusively more on that muscle. When we're a certain age and time's a factor and confusion, things like that, then we have a six exercise. If you're more advanced or you're younger, so to speak, we can go 8. If a person's younger, like in their 20s and their 30s, we're going to go 12 exercises every workout. See? Yeah. Even guys, when women come in the gym, they lift 10 pounds and then they leave. So they did nothing. Right. See, some of the machines actually have movement. So when they flop the machine around, they think they exercise.
Well, that must really bother you, Stephen, because you can instantly look at what they're doing and understand whether they're doing it right or wrong. You also instantaneously know what program that they would need or would benefit to give them the results that they want. So that must be a bit frustrating for you.
Well, that's why I'm on your show, because I'm looking for support so that we can show that strength training core of Dr. Fitness, that it's a health component to the natural aging process.
So, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. And certainly, if, and I'm sure the reason why you have the people take pictures of, their body, frontal and sideways and everything is that you can see what's happening in the skeletal structure, which gives you the basis of what sort of program you want to put together, because the basis of what you're doing is structural adjustment. So you're creating a symphony of exercises to start correcting the anatomical structure of the body to bring it back into alignment, which then will free the person from pain. So that makes a lot of sense that why that is important to do, and that everybody's sequence is different.
Like in any music instrument, or when you're listening to a choir, if there's a note missing and you're an expert, you can tell that something's off. So they're just like an orchestra or instruments, there's different tempos, or in dance, sometimes you like fast music, sometimes you love slow music. So in body design, there's all these tempos happening, sometimes together, sometimes separately. So people can't come to me and say, oh, the program is boring.
I have a last question for you. I mean, in my gym, I'm a quiet guy. I don't have music. I like silence. Silence is my music.
Yes.
But when I'm in the gym, there's all this loud music everywhere, right? Crazy music. So what do you do? Do you take your own music, or do you use...
No, that's a perfect question. I'm exactly like yourself, because the feminine side of a man, the creative side of a man, is a silent world. Women can filter out this type of music. Before, when the gym is really noisy or I go out, I take earplugs. Okay, but in your gym, if they're playing loud music like that, I couldn't train there. It's too disturbing.
Right. So I'll take earplugs next time and try that out.
Yeah, because you're trying to exercise and feel the rhythm of your body, and then some guy's in the corner playing drums.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. So I was trying to make the music match and my exercise, and luckily I was able to do it this time. But I'm being led by the music, and like you say, it gets in the way of my own internal rhythm, my own inner music. So yeah, so I'm going to do something about that. I'm either going to take earplugs, or I'm going to create my own music, my own training.
Sometimes I can ask. It doesn't happen too often, but sometimes when I used to be at Gold's Gym, I'd actually ask them to lower the music.
Right.
That doesn't always work. Yeah. I don't know. The more distraction people have, the more activities going on, the more they make money. Like if you go into McDonald's, the reason it's painted yellow is to make people eat faster or get nervous.
Right.
There's a scheme to everything. So I bring my program and I make sure that I look at it and I follow it.
What you're saying is really important. So if you're listening to the program, the really important thing is, if you're going to the gym, it's really important that you have a coach. And we're not talking about a trainer. We're talking about a coach like Stephen, who's going to help you give your body back. And what I mean by that, a body that's pain-free through structural adjustment. So it's important to not go to the gym and just think that you know what you're doing. It's sort of a hit and miss. So that's why this series of programs is so important. The 13-episode program, there's a lot to this. There's a rhythm, there's a beauty to this, to get your youth back, to have your health back, to have your fitness back. And for that, Steve, I'm truly grateful, because I would never have been in the gym if you hadn't encouraged me. You asked me 6 months ago, hey, why don't you go to the gym? I say, are you crazy? I'm not a gym rat. I don't want to go there. I would have the same attitude. The last time I was in the gym was, it was totally different. Absolutely. There's no resemblance to what a gym is now. Gyms today are really, really quite amazing places. And lots of young people there, vibrant people. And yes, there's a lot of grunting and groaning and a lot of craziness going on. But there's also some really amazing people are getting their lives together. It's a different environment than what we think it's all about. So give it a chance. And you should really have a conversation with Stephen to get the program that's going to suit your needs, where you are in your life and what's happening in your body. So pick up the phone. Just don't sit there. Pick up the phone and get hold of them.
If you don't do it now, you'll probably never do it. And that's what I realized. I had an opportunity to jump on this opportunity, and I'm happy I did, and I would encourage you to do it as well.
Because if your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, then Dr. Fitness USA can help you achieve it. I want to invite you to schedule a strategy session. Simply go to strategy.drfitnessusa.com to schedule your call now. And don't forget to join us next Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube Live. I'm Batista at drfitnessusa.com. Bye for now and see you next week.